people just kill their wife instead of divorcing them?
Surprising number of people kill.
Have you ever been involved in one of those cases?
I've never had one where someone was killed. I did have a client who her husband or estranged husband, now ex-husband, ran her over 3 times and stabbed her 16 times.
This is during the divorce?
During the divorce. And she survived. Like, this guy couldn't even get that shit right. Like, he stabbed someone 16 times, run him over 3 times, and she's alive to tell the tale, and he's in fucking prison.
Okay.
Yeah. So she got 100% in the end, probably.
She got 100%. She also had to get like another kidney and some other things. So she lost out.
Probably can afford that on the black market.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of money, yeah, she did all right.
Now, what role do you play in that?
Well, I wasn't like the lookout, if that's what you mean. Like, I was like, there
like,
she is! You know, like,
meaning, like, how much pressure were you putting on him where he just goes, I gotta kill her?
A lot. Yeah. I think, you know, when you're dealing with like high net worth and ultra high net worth divorces.
What is high net worth? Just
so high net worth is generally defined as a divorce where the estate is more than $10 million.
Got it.
Ultra high net worth is over $100 million.
Got it.
So it's a different level in some ways because you're fighting over bigger numbers. It's harder to track the values. A lot of the stuff that people do for like wealth preservation and tax avoidance, like super, super rich people don't own anything. They have trusts that own LLCs. That are beneficiaries of, and they're like great grandchildren that haven't been born yet own everything, and they just borrow it from them. Like, so that's why they pay like less in taxes than a guy who works at Burger King. So it's unbelievable.
Because they're not actually generating income, and you only pay tax on income. I guess you can pay capital gains too, but like,
not if you do it the right way. So what happens is these people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to accountants and tax attorneys to make sure they don't have to pay taxes. But they don't anticipate that when they get divorced, this is just going to blow up in your face.
Wait, why? Why is it?
Because it makes it so complicated to figure out where is the money, what is marital, what is outside the scope of the marital estate, what can the judge get their hands on, what can't they get their hands on. So it becomes a really, really tricky, messy thing.
Do you prefer the ultra high net worth clients, those cases?
I mean, they pay their bill on time, which is nice.
But outside of payment, like, is it just more stressful? Is it more grueling? Is it?
You know, I'm very blessed. I'm at the place in my career now where I have high net worth and ultra high net worth clients, and you can have a smaller number of clients who you give a lot more personalized attention to. Because anybody who's at like a certain level of net worth, they are used to being waited on, and they're used to their professionals. Like they've not romanticized a lawyer. Like they know lots of lawyers, so they look at lawyers like you'd look at like a plumber. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that do this. You work for me. And, you know, they're used to, so you have to give them a certain level of attention. But unlike a plumber, like, you do get to yell at them. Like, you do get, like, and sometimes that's what they want.
This is interesting. Yeah, you're almost like an authority figure.
Yeah,
even though, okay, you are. Even though they're hiring you. That's really, it's like there's few positions where you're subservient to the person you're hiring. Like a trainer is one of them. Like your trainer can yell at you, tell you you're being lazy, get your ass together, stop eating this shit. There's lawyer, and then maybe like doctor.
Yeah, I mean, the two people you should never lie to are your doctor and your lawyer. Because like everything you tell us, every single thing you tell us is protected by privilege, and there's absolutely our only job's to protect you.
How do you do that in the beginning? So you're sitting down with somebody, and you could tell they're being a little fugazi about the information. How do you just go, dude, you're going to screw yourself if you don't tell me where the fucking bodies are buried.
I literally say that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't pull any punches on it. Like I very much, but what I usually will say to them just to kind of like take it to a place that they can understand is I'll say, look, I just want, at the beginning of this relationship, I want you to understand, I represent people who've been victims of domestic violence. I represent perpetrators of domestic violence. I represent people who are, by any objective standard, amazing parents. And I represent people who just want to put the kids in the middle for leverage for child support purposes. And I am no one's moral compass. I'm a weapon. And a weapon in the hands of a hero, right, is going to protect people. And a weapon in the hands of the villain is going to cause chaos. But the weapon is kind of neutral, right?
Who's the worst person you've defended?
I mean, obviously, a lot of my clients, I can't disclose who they are, except
not in actual.
What do they do?
Like, what did they do?
Oh, I've represented people who are, you know, by any objective metric, are you know, malignant narcissists. I mean, so unfortunately, the traits that make people very successful, particularly in high finance, which is what New York is really like. My colleague Laura Wasser is in LA. She represents like every celebrity you've ever seen. I represent a lot of people in finance
different type
who
of
could buy those celebrities 10 times over, but would walk past you on the street. You never know who they were.
Did you represent any current or former presidents by any chance?
No presidents yet. No presidents yet. They all seem to keep it together right now.
they're not.
Clinton, I got my fingers crossed.
How do you
Obama, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, because I don't want to get away from that. The reason why I was asking that question, like the worst person you've represented, like talking to you even before, you don't seem like a sociopath. Like you seem like, and even watching videos of you, like you seem like quite like empathetic. You have a lot of emotion, right? I've seen you get like sensitive in interviews for sure. So I understand, and there's a lot of times this happens with like defense attorneys.
Yeah.
You go, how could you represent this person?
It's a great question.
So you're representing sometimes scumbags.
Awful people, awful people.
Is there ever a moment where you're like, I can't fight for this guy?
No, because
real quick, just a caveat. This guy abuses his kids, or this woman abuses her kids, and by fighting for custody, I'm enabling the abuse of those kids.
Yeah. So you have that thought. Like so first of all, yes, I'm a sensitive person. I don't think I could do this job well if I wasn't. Because to do this job well, it's just like, I think it's like being a comic. I think you have to have a sensitivity.
Yep.
You have to be able to read what's going on with this audience, and you have to know what's working, what's not, and be able to shift, right? So it's the same exact thing. It's just my audience is a judge. So, and I'm really here, like our job's the same. We're here to manipulate people's emotional states. That's our job. Like your job is to manipulate people. You want them to laugh, relax, and enjoy. I want the other side to be scared. I want my client to feel safe. I want the judge to like my client and hate the other side. So I'm here just manipulating everybody's emotional state. And to do that well, I have to be very open, receptive, empathetic, and sensitive.
Got it.
The downside of that is, I'm sensitive. I'm
feeling all
empathetic.
that
I feel
shit.
a lot of it. I represent the client, but I also represent the system. And I don't always believe in the client, but I believe in the system.
Give me an example of that where those.
I was talking about it on Mark's show some time ago when I represented a guy who was a pimp, like literally a pimp. That was his job. Like he actually was. He's in federal prison now for guns, but he was an atrocious human being. He was an abuser. And I was up against an adversary who was an unskilled attorney and very, like, it was all this woman could afford.
Oof.
And I absolutely ran her over. And we walked out of court, and the guy pat me on the back, and he said, "Man, one good lawyer's worth 20 stick-up men." And I just remember thinking, like, I want to go home and just take a shower right now because that just feels dirty.
Crazy.
But
so you do have that. I've always wondered if lawyers have that feeling.
Of course.
And then can you compartmentalize that?
I think you have
and move on.
I think you have to, because look, what I'll tell you is the truth has a way of coming out, sometimes despite my best efforts.